Have you ever been on a turbulent flight? Your instincts drive you to steady your body in whatever way you can while everything around you is moving. We are living in turbulent times these days. Not only have our day-to-day lives been completely altered due to COVID-19, but everything in the news seems to be in chaos too. That is why this safety briefing aims to improve your emotional world through grounding. It is titled, Feeling Scattered? 3 Ways to Ground During Turbulent Times. Do you have a hard time focusing these days or feeling motivated? Me too. In fact, 1/3 of Americans now show signs of clinical anxiety, depression, or even both. Because of a constant low-level state of anxiety about COVID-19, I try to pacify myself with watching Netflix or eating unhealthy food. I've even forgotten what day it is because the anchors of activities that differentiated my days before are gone. I have a hard time focusing and feeling motivated to do things I used to enjoy, such as writing or exercising. I simply feel groundless, like the earth is constantly shifting beneath me. I guess because it is. There's a new me emerging, and it's certainly not without growing pains. Can you relate to this? In a more is better, technology-driven world, feeling ungrounded has become the norm rather than the exception. Reading this list of symptoms of groundlessness, I have to say, I relate to very many of these signs. What about you? Difficulty focusing and concentrating, difficulty finishing tasks, forgetting what you were saying in the middle of a conversation, anxiety, perpetual worry, bumping into things, not being aware of where your body is in space, misplacing personal objects such as phone or keys, forgetting to drink water or even eat meals, poor sleep, increased fatigue. Well, now that we know how to tell if we are feeling groundless, is there anything we can even do about it? Yes, there is something we can do about it. The good news is that there are some simple grounding techniques that can reverse some of these symptoms in your body, mind, and spirit, including reduced inflammation and stress, improved sleep, elevated mood, and improved immunity. Here are 3 things that others have been doing to ground themselves. You can ground yourself in your body, in your why, and in rhythms. Let's take a look at each one. First, let's learn about how to ground yourself in your body. Grounding yourself in your body is the best way to get you back into the present moment when you feel scattered. This can include grounding yourself through all 5 of your senses. What do you smell? What do you hear or see? Where's your body in the room? The simplest way is to just look at your feet and notice where they are. Sitting in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, focus on your breath. Notice where your body is in contact with the chair and the ground. Take your shoes off and go for a walk in the grass. Exercise in a way where you can be mindful of your body's movements, such as yoga. In fact, yoga poses such as the mountain pose and tree pose have a grounding component to them that may prove beneficial. Breathing exercises and stretching is also great for grounding. Grounding yourself in your body is the first step to recentering and realigning yourself. Once we know where our body is in space, we can then move on to what is going on in our mind and spirit. Let me demonstrate a breathing exercise. Do this with me. Take in a deep breath. Hold it at the top for a count of 4. Then release it slowly, allowing your lungs to empty. Hold for another 4 count. Now repeat that 3 times. Now do this while stretching your neck and relieving tension there. Do you feel a bit invigorated? Grounding yourself in your why, or your purpose or passion, is another effective way to steady yourself during turbulence. Asking why is helpful, but it doesn't really get to the root of the issue. That's why I use an exercise called 7 Levels Deep. Pick an activity, goal, or challenge that you're having trouble getting motivated for. Ask yourself why you want to prioritize it, accomplish it, or overcome it. Then ask yourself why 6 more times. Here's an example from my own life. I have a daily goal of moving my body 30 minutes every day. So I ask, why do I want to move my body? I want to move my body because it helps me start the day with a strong body and clear mind. I want to start the day with a strong body and clear mind because I want to be able to play with my kids and be patient with them instead of frazzled and stressed out. I want to be patient with my kids because my kids deserve a mom who isn't angry, and it's up to me to model healthy behaviors. I want to model healthy behaviors so they can learn from me and live long, fulfilling lives. I want them to have long, fulfilling lives because it's the greatest wish I have as a mother and part of the legacy I want to leave. I want to leave a legacy because I want to know my life mattered and had a purpose. I want my life to have a purpose because I was created for a reason and I want to live my life to the fullest. Around the third or fourth level of the exercise, something interesting happens. You start to move from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic, from the head to the heart, like an anchor being lowered into the water. Each question brings you deeper to the core of your why, and it helps you find your true motivations for action. When my alarm goes off at 5 a.m., I don't get out of bed to exercise because I want to look good in skinny jeans. I get out of bed because moving my body every day is part of the legacy that I leave my children. Making decisions based upon my deepest why allows me to stay true to myself, even when the world is constantly shifting around me. Number 3 is grounding yourself in rhythms. I remember when my son was an infant, the only way I could get him to sleep was with some kind of rocking or movement. Everything in his world was new and ever changing, and the rhythm of my rocking or swaying allowed him to feel safe. I would argue that we are not much different than a newborn in this way. When we face uncertainty and feel out of control, we cling to what gives us comfort. Unfortunately, for many people, myself included, this can mean unhealthy behaviors that temporarily pacify us. Grounding yourself in daily rhythms, however, gives a predictability to your days that can comfort you, while also ensuring that you are engaging in activities that support your self-care. Rhythms that help me include biological rhythms, such as waking up and going to sleep at the same time every day, eating meals at the same time, getting adequate sunlight and rest. Self-care rhythms, such as after I wake up and before I go to sleep, I exercise, I drink water, I journal, meditate, personal development reading, included in my morning and my evening rhythms. Planning rhythms are good. To plan for the day, plan for the week ahead, such as meal planning and preparation, recurring chores, task lists at work. Midday check-in rhythms, in order to take a moment to notice how I feel, what's going well that day, what's been challenging me that day. This may include 5 minutes of deep breathing or meditation if needed. An end-of-day reflection time or me time. Evening walk after the kids go to bed to help me transition from mom time to me time, soaking in a tub, sitting down in front of my favorite TV show, something like that. Rhythms anchored in biological or natural events, such as waking up in the morning, eating meals, going to bed at night. Those will be the easiest to implement, but you can also create artificial rhythms, around an anchor event, such as a reminder on your cell phone. For example, this would work for weekly meal planning. Rhythms have helped lessen the underlying anxiety I feel about the pandemic and everything else going on in the world. And I've had less of an urge to pick up my phone during every spare moment. After all, we could all use a bit more predictability. Now that you're grounded, you can let go. During turbulent times, we grasp at whatever we think will keep us from being jostled around and will keep us feeling safe. Oftentimes, we hold on to something that we think will help us, but it may only do so in the short term. We consume social media, food, alcohol in excess to entertain us or comfort us, but it usually makes us feel worse after the initial high wears off. We make purchases that promise to solve our problems, but those promises usually come up empty. When we ground ourselves in our body, our why, and daily rhythms, we stop grasping for what we think will make us feel better during turbulent times because we know what anchors us in our deepest self. We then have the courage to let go in ways we never thought possible. When you're grounded, you are more willing to let go. Let go of the things you thought were needs and realize that most things in your life are wants. Let go of the need to be right, to control every situation. Let go of the expectations of who you and others should be and embrace and accept who you and others truly are. Let go of everything that doesn't serve you, including the person you've been up to this point. Make room for the person that you want to become. We are in the middle of a turbulent life storm, grieving our past lives and anxious about what the future holds. Grounding ourselves in our body, mind, and spirit allows us to calm the storm within us and gives us the courage to let go and come home to the truest part of ourselves. Thank you for joining us for this month's safety briefing.